Welcome to Cash Chats with me, Andy Webb from BeCleverWithYourCash.com. This is the podcast to help you make the most of your money. In episode 354, I'll be detailing a brand new switching deal from TSB worth up to £225. I'll be letting you know about a rate cut coming to premium bonds and what that might mean for savings, at least easy access savings, in the coming weeks and months. Plus, if you're a regular at the cinema, I'll be breaking down whether cinema memberships are worth the money. All of that, plus as ever, my deals of the week right at the end of the show. Now, before we do get into it, I do want to give a quick hello to everyone who now watches the podcast on YouTube. We've been doing this in sort of October, November last time. But if you are listening on the likes of Apple Podcasts or Spotify and you'd rather watch me talk about this stuff, then you obviously can go over to the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@BeCleverWithYourCash. Incidentally, if you are watching the podcast on YouTube, it's worth knowing that this episode is going to be split into 3 different parts. So when the first one finishes, make sure you do click on the video that will appear so you can watch the next part, and the same with that to get the full episode. Or there is a playlist section within YouTube now, and there's also YouTube Music where you can listen to the whole thing in one go. Right, let's get into it. Episode 354 of Cash Chats. Right, let's start off talking about this brand new bank switching deal from TSB. This is the first one of 2024. I'm sure we'll get many, many more of them as the year goes on, and I'll tell you all about them when they come about. But if you have been waiting for a deal and you haven't yet taken advantage of a TSB offer, or if you have, it was prior to the 1st of October 2022, then this is a great one to get started with in the new year. This is valued at potentially up to 225 quid. Whether you get that full amount depends how hardcore you are with the different steps you have to take. There's a relatively easy thing you can do to get a first amount. The other amounts, they take extra time and extra steps. I'll break them all down for you anyway. So what is this offer? So I'm going to bring up, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see I'm bringing up a table from the analysis that I've written over on our website, BeCleverWithYourCash.com. If you're listening to the show, don't worry, I'll put a link to it in the show notes. You can read it afterwards just to refresh yourself of everything I've spoken about. So the initial bonus is 125 quid. Sadly, this is down on what TSB was offering last September, October time, but you can't read too much into this because often you see the amounts fluctuate quite regularly throughout the year. And all it needs is for another bank to come in with a whopping bonus that's much, much, much higher, and then the others respond in kind. So I wouldn't necessarily say this is a sign that bonuses are going to dip this year. They could do, but I hope that they won't. So £125 for switching. Now, this has, again, a number of different sort of requirements that come into this. You have to have one of 2 current accounts in order to do this. You open up, you can be an existing customer and open up a new one, that's fine. Or if you haven't got one at all, you can open it brand new, either a spend and save or a spend and save plus account. They're the 2 TSB accounts that will qualify for this. And you need to do this before the offer ends. So it started on Monday, the 15th of January. It doesn't have an end date yet, it has not been specified when it is going to finish. Based on the other actions that need to be taken, you can kind of adjudicate, you can kind of sort of work backwards and go that it's going to be definitely will be closed by sort of late February. I would not be surprised if it goes in early February. Based on how this offer has worked in the past, I would imagine you're looking around somewhere between the 7th and the 14th of February 2024 when it will be closed in terms of opening up the current account. That's the first thing you do, is open up TSB Spend and Save or a TSB Spend and Save Plus before it goes. As soon as I know when that date is going to close, I'll obviously update the article over on the website. So you can check if it's still live there. You'll also be able to check if it's still live by going to the TSB website. So the first thing you do, open up one of those 2 accounts. Now, which one you go for depends how active you're going to be when it comes to some of the other steps. I personally think the one to go for is just a standard TSB Spend and Save because that is free. It does not have a monthly fee. The other one has a monthly fee, £3 a month, and that will really, really bite into the returns you're going to get, not just in this offer, but also ongoing. So that's my instinct. If you do want to look into the pros and cons between the 2, then absolutely check them out. But I would suggest go with the Spend and Save. Once you have opened up this account before the switching offer ends, you need to add in 2 active direct debits to the account. Okay, they don't need to be switched over. You can just add them in. You also need to use the debit card, and you need to log into the online or app banking. And the other thing you need to do, obviously, is switch the account. Now, you've got more time for that switch to happen, but there is a firm deadline. And that firm deadline is the 15th of March, 2024. All those things I just listed, the direct debits being set up and paid, the direct debit card being used, and logging into online or app banking, and the switch being completed, all by that same date of 15th of March. And that's why I said, if you work backwards, seeing as a bank switch will take 7 working days. So let's say you're in 9 days, but let's say an extra one in just for comfort. That realistically, the last date you can start that switch is around the sort of 7th of March, really. Maybe be a bit safer, do it a bit earlier in terms of starting it. And if you think about it from that point of view, although there's no published end date for the whole offer in terms of opening the account, realistically, it's got to be by the early March. But I think it'll be a little bit earlier than that. So do those things, all of that kind of stuff, and you will get your bonus by the 29th of March, 2024. Okay, so that's really good. 2024, relatively quick bonus compared to it's 125 quid paid into your account. You do not need to then keep the account open if you don't want to. Once you've got that 125 quid, it is yours. You can transfer it out and you can use this account for switch to someone else. First one, okay, so relatively simple ones do that. The other ones to boost your money, they have more complication. I'm going to go first of all here with the official switching deal promotion, because when you go to the TSB website, you'll see it. It's £125 for switching plus up to 60 quid for staying with the bank. You've got to stay with the bank for 6 months in order to get that full 60 quid. And then to get that, that's basically £10 a month. That is effectively double rewards. The spend and save account comes with a £5 reward every single month. They call it cashback, but effectively you're getting normally £5 every month for the first 6 months on the free account. It does continue on the paid account. Again, as I said before, you're knocking £3 off that 5 quid. So you're really reducing how much you're getting. Although I guess longer term, you will get more if you keep it going for a year and a half. But broadly speaking, I don't think it's worth it. But anyway, you will have that open. You will be getting double rewards for that 6 months. So rather than £5 a month, you'll get £10 a month. Sounds pretty simple, right? That's an extra 60 quid. So just staying with the bank for an extra 6 months for 60 quid. I think that's not bad. The problem is, to trigger that reward, it's not as simple as just having the account. You have to make 20 debit card transactions per calendar month. So for that entire 6 month period, including the month that you open the account. So if you're opening it up towards the end of the month, so the end of January, well, you only have a few days there in order to make those 20 transactions, which might not be enough time. But even if you have it for the full month, using your debit card 20 times for a lot of us. I mean, I don't use my debit card 20 times or any card 20 times in a month. Maybe sometimes, but often I wouldn't be doing that. Could be a bit of a stretch. I think if you're doing it normally, fine. Why not? Knock yourself out. But I also talk often here on the podcast and on the YouTube channel and on the website about better ways to earn money, using cashback cards, for example, or stoozing, whatever it might be. So if you're using your debit card 20 times to get this £5, then you're missing out on money back elsewhere, and that potentially could be worth more. Chase Bank, for example, you get up to 15 quid cash back on your spending every single month. You can hack this though, and this is the same hack when I've spoken to you guys about the Halifax reward account triggering that. This one, essentially, you can make other spending with your debit card, okay, not a direct debit, with your debit card, other spending, which actually really just sends money to yourself in another way. So you can use that to pay off a cashback credit card. You can use it to send money to the likes of Revolut or to Monzo. Again, using the debit card, really important that, not via transfer. You can use it to add money to your Amazon account. You can use it to add money to savings accounts such as CHIP or NS&I, National Savings Investments. There are a number of ways that you can do this. I just feel doing it 20 times every single month is a bit of a faff, a bit of a pain just to get £5. Now, if you regularly shop at Amazon, adding £1 to your gift card credit and doing that a number of times in a day or over a week, then, okay, what you've got to lose? You can spend 20 quid on Amazon anyway. But I think just bear that in mind, the time it's taken, is it worth it? And you are tied into that account for another 6 months. But if you want to do it, then knock yourself out, go for it. So those two together, 125 quid for the initial switch and another potentially 60 quid, double those rewards on the plain spend and save account. Obviously, it'd be less when you knock in the fee with the spend and save plus. Could give you 185 quid, which again makes it pretty decent as an overall switching deal. Now, where does this extra 40 quid come from? How do we get up to 225 quid? Well, this is right back at the beginning. Roll back to before you apply for this current account. And you apply for this via a cashback site instead. Now, normally TSB is on both Quidco and Top Cashback. Time of launch of this offer, I've had a look, it is not on Quidco. That obviously could change in the coming days and weeks, but at the moment it's only showing on Top Cashback. And the rate that is showing for both those accounts is 40 quid. Again, these rates can change, and there have been times in the past where the free account, the spend and save account on its own, has had a lower rate of cashback. So I can only say what's happening right now at this moment. But 40 quid rate for applying for the TSB account via Top Cashback is a lovely, lovely extra on top. This, however, does have its own terms and conditions. And this one, you have to have at least 4 months of having the account in order to get this. So you need to make 2 debit payments in 3 of those first 4 months. So what it means by 3 of 4 months, if it's January, then you've got January, February, March, and April. 3 of those 4 months, you have to do 2 debit transactions. And this is not just debit card. It could be a direct debit, which you've already got 2 active direct debits set up when you did the bank switch, if you're doing that as well. So that will cover that. Or if you're making these 20 debit card transactions anyway per calendar month for the double rewards, then that's going to cover it. But you've got to remember to do that. But you've also, as part of this cashback terms and conditions, is pay £500 into the account in 3 of those 4 months. So you've got to remember to add money to the account, at least £500. Again, if you're making debit card transactions, you'll need to do it, but it's worth doing it. Now that one can take a while for that money to come through. It's hard to say. It could easily be 6 or 7 months. So again, a while before this cash comes along. But combined as an offer, again, up to 225 quid. If you've not previously had a bank switching offer from TSB, the cutoff, as I said at the top there, is the 1st of October 2022. If you had switching money from them before that, you're fine, but not since then. You can take advantage of all these different deals. And remember, there is no set end date for this yet, but my anticipation is going to be early to mid-February. And then the deadline to get the switch completed and those other things you need to get done is by the 15th of March 2024. Remember, head to becleverwithyourcash.com for all the details of this offer and any other bank switching deals that do come along. Now, if you're watching this episode of the podcast on YouTube, make sure you click the videos right here because you'll be able to watch part 2 and part 3 straight away.